Hello everyone! Finally, welcome back to my map review series for your creative maps as I look into deeper detail on how players would be able to play through your maps without much issues. So for those of you who have been watching this series, I do apologize that I haven't been keeping up with the uploads as I should have. But let's just say that certain personal issues has gotten in the way, and I want to ensure that I'm in a clear state of mind before I resume this series. Now then, for those of you who have been already looking at the screen while I was making this quick speech, these are the maps that I have reviewed in episode 3, and these will include my final thoughts, the budget of the map, as well as the final rating that I've given for this map. So the first map that we had was Tokyo Tower. Now, I'm not too sure as of the creation for this map, where as I look through the budget to finalize the cost of this, I was uncertain if, let's say, certain pieces that were used in this map had a cheaper budget in its entirety when this map was created. So let's just say that maybe the budget for this map was actually under the maximum allowed for 2000 in this case, as checking with the last updated for this map. And so by the time I checked the budget, it is considered over budget, but I would not be too concerned for this map, so I will still kind of treat this map as a vanilla map. So in the case that the budgets were somewhat increased, there will not be too much of an issue in its entirety. So moving on to the second map, we had Galaxia, which perfectly fits the budget of 2000. The third map, which was Diamond and Black Run, the fourth map, Sunken Bridge, and lastly, the fifth map, we have Block Off. Now, since I have already shown you the 5 maps that I've reviewed in episode 3, I will now quickly head over into the game in order to start the 5 maps that I have for this particular episode. So one thing that I would like to change before I do hop over is that you will not be seeing the PowerPoint slides for the maps in this episode. Instead, they'll be pushed over to the next episode. What this means is that you'll be seeing from map and directly to the map itself. So from the first map, we're going to jump right into the second map, into the third, the fourth, and then lastly the fifth. Overall, I would say that I do hope this slight change can help you guys a little bit better, as that I do kind of sort of sense that there is a little bit of awkward breaks even when as I do the recording. So hopefully this provides a better flow for the video recording. But alas, if you do prefer the old method, please let me know in the comments for this episode and I will adjust accordingly. Alright everyone, now that we are in the game, I would just like to quickly mention the 5 maps that I'll be reviewing for this episode. Number 1, we have T-Rex Clash. Number 2, Factory Fallout. Number 3, Jungle of Wu. Number 4, Shadows Wild Ride. And number 5, Anywhere But Home. Just take note that I may not be reviewing these maps in the specific order of map names that I've just mentioned. I do reserve the right to actually switch around the order as I do see fit. However, these are guaranteed the 5 maps that you will be obtaining in this episode. Now then, without further ado, let's actually start up this first map. Now, the first map, as mentioned, we have T-Rex Clash. So just with some quick observations is that you can obviously see some T-Rex over at the background, some of the perhaps more dinosaurs that is already, I'm assuming the representation of which is meant to be lava, so we have the bones that are left after melting in lava, or therefore trying to be representative of one. So overall, I think the map is still quite easy to work around. The obstacle seems to at least not be too complicated for most of you who will be wanting to play through this map on your own time to do some quick and much more advanced exploration. So plenty of checkpoints as well to cover up the map, and there is some things here that should be taken note of, is that you can fall through the gaps in the bridge. Although, however, I think by the time this map was kind of created, I don't think the invisible blocks were available just yet. For those of you who wish to correct me, you will probably have to make use of Fall Guys database and check this map code to see when it's last updated, as I don't remember when are some of the features in Creative ever launched. But I do want to review these maps fairly, so I always use that as a guide to figure out the budget and perhaps, let's say, which obstacles were added. And considering the map name of T-Rex Clash, all I do actually just see is just the two T-Rex in the backgrounds going up against one another. And maybe now that I think about it a little bit more, perhaps the map is representative of a ruined battleground that the T-Rexes have, and we are navigating through the remains without getting spotted by the T-Rexes, but fortunately, it seems that that was not the case, and we are able to safely reach the end. That much being said, I do think this map can have a little more aesthetics. But regardless of what it is, we are going to move on to the second map in just a very short moment. Now then, the second map, Anywhere But Home. We shall get into this map as we shall see what it's all about. So, in the map description, it is said that this is more of a visual map. So, let's see if there are actually any gameplay elements in them first. So, at least it does seem that there's some bits and pieces of gameplay elements, as there's already some platforming. I will intentionally respawn to test something out. Okay, let's see if this candy area is makeable. I think it's possible, but I obviously have some skill issues, so I'm not gonna waste too much time there. Now then, this next part. Ooh, I was not expecting a bouncy there, But this slime slide does seem to perhaps do one or two things. One is to consume much more time from the players, or two, just pose some sort of a tough obstacle to work with, and this area is definitely intriguing as there are vines for the players to cross. So, and unfortunately I have just fallen off map itself. Or is this part meant to be a puzzle where you need to pick the right vine to climb? Though it seems that I am able to cross over with no issue. Uh-oh, that's not right. Now then, two paths are gone. Let's check out the third. And that is not how I'm supposed to be crossing. Let's do this right. No, that's not right either. Let's do my balancing trick to run around the map. Nope, that's not gonna work either. Okay, so I think this area definitely can be worked on because, oh my goodness, there's so many times where I just keep falling off. So this is definitely not something that I definitely look forward to, because I think players kind of want to be able to take in the aesthetics of the map, and then some parts of which just play through it very peacefully. And so, some little small detail as I'm zooming over here. The green padded beam that I just walked past is actually having a effect of a rotation controller. Now, I'm not sure whether the other paths have a similar section of the vine have that as well, but the rotation controller does kind of make things a little bit more complicated, and I guess we are technically not at home but a museum, because there are lots of creepy aspects to this, I will not lie. And once again, we have some rotation controllers, so okay. Flower pot. Okay. Okay, so theoretically the other paths do play in a little differently. I will slightly kind of walk backwards, but I think oh, okay. Hang on. Does seem this is a little more intriguing here. Instead, let's see. Considering that there are no arrows to kind of help with navigation for this map, I think this is one of the downsides of this map, as the amount of time that I've kind of have to spend to figure out where I have to move is not a fun sight to begin with. And this is kind of reaching the heights limit of the map, but to just check around, and there we go. That was a checkpoint that we missed, so alright. Oh. Uh-oh. That's not right. Okay. Okay. So grave 2 and 3 seems to have nothing. I wonder how will players figure out which is the correct grave to go into though. So did I just cut a lucky break in the first set? Oh, I just bounced off to the other side of the map. So I think there are a lot of things that this map can work on. I don't even know where the bounce is. Oh, there we go. What are we? Okay. This is a very weird navigation. Can we just drop down? Yep, I would say that this map kind of stirs me up a little because of kind of the unclear directions that we are supposed to go into. And let's get this checkpoint before it's too late. And it does seem that the map is trying to get some logical hypothesis guessing route involved, but I wouldn't want this type of map, to be honest, as it does make things seem a little too complicated for your general player base, and a coyote jump over there I don't think is the best possible option, as we need to now climb up this all here, and again another coyote jump. I'm not really a fan of it. Like, because the creator labeled this as a visual map, which is why I don't think there was a need for all these tricky jumps at any point. So these are some of the few factors that I look at. And there is a very big drum over here. So what am I supposed to do here? Do I have to use the bumper car? I nearly just fell off the bumper car, so that's definitely a tough design factor, not gonna lie. But now the speed of this, I think it's still alright. Okay, at least this is a glass ceiling, or at least a full-on transparent block, so we can't fall through. As we clear this map, and we move on to the third. But quick thoughts on this is that I don't really like this map, but we'll see what the third map has for us. Alright, the third map itself, Jungle of Wu. Let's quickly get it started. So, explore the jungle and uncover the secrets of Wu, which obviously is the Fall Guys language, so that's some things being implemented right there. So overall, I think just by looking through this map itself, it's not too overly complicated and everything. Okay. So it seems there's at least a walking route, sort of, and a pre-planned failed route, I would assume. Okay. So that definitely has some error prevention, which I think most maps should kind of have. Okay, some speed arches. The distance travelable, I think, is just nice. You'll be able to speed stack and not to tumble over, of course. And I see that this is where there might be some obstacles here as I just fall right off, but we respawn right before that section, so that is something that has been thought out already. So quite a lot of interesting factors here, and that's another safety checkpoint. Alright, so a few quick things that will this fire is entirely blocked off. You can't even try and burn your Four Guys bean, as I have skill issue in reaching the platform. And that's not really the right angle. Overall, I do like the gameplay of this, although I think I see some cannons being shot. So I think the aesthetics itself also kind of make ample sense. Alright, so some aesthetics right to the very end, and let's say if I don't even move, you guys do notice that this is an upwards conveyor, which does help out for players who I think has to catch a quick catch a quick break from some sort of gameplay elements. But with that, I'm just gonna speed things up and qualify. So overall, I think this map, I wouldn't say really lacks in aesthetics, but maybe a few things that can be improved on, which I will show in the next episode. Most definitely. Alright, the fourth map itself, we have Factory Fallout. Now, I kind of expect some good things to work around this map considering the creator of the map, but again, I do not look at really creator of the maps as a strong design factor and everything. Do excuse me if you guys hear the stuttering a little. Okay, so we have a rubber chicken power-up over here, which my four guy bean did not grab for whatever reason. So there is a trigger zone with the points itself. So I think this map will only be real chaotic if, let's say, you have more players. Alright, so the top here would get you 3 points. What about the bottom area over here? Alright, the hex tiles do reset a little, so... Alright, so respawning intentionally to test out some of the factors. Okay, so there are basically rubber chickens to kind of serve as competitiveness in this level. And if you stand kind of at the right spot, the boom blaster doesn't really affect you too much. But this map definitely, I think, preserves more for the harder, not harder, but when there are more players involved in the map. I did not want to exactly qualify that as I want to test something else, but regardless, it is still a fun and short map to play with. And quite a positive thoughts here for this map, which you guys will get to see in the next episode. Now, moving on to the final map, we will have Shadow's Wall Ride, and yes, I did notice that I did not exactly switch the maps correctly, but it's because the last map itself, I think I might as well just show how many kind of maps I did have set up over the months that I've played this game. But regardless, let's get this one started real quickly. Now, Shadow's Wild Ride is a survival map. So supposedly this map is to be made for tournaments, but let's just see how... So for survival map itself, I do want to see like if places of potential eliminations are well thought out and everything. So first off, we have the speed of these bars, which okay, it's not too complicated. That is not what I want, and I will actually rerun this, so do give me a second. So obviously, cheese prevention was already prevented. As you see with the jump areas, the spinning bars. So that's definitely something good there. Now, let's try this again. Hopefully I don't make the same mistake as I did earlier. So cheese prevention is definitely there. Specific timing for jumps is also active. Alright. Okay. So this map does offer lots of precision, which is kind of what you should expect for a survival map. And just have to see through the map a little. Alright, so you kind of have to move fast here. Oh, that is the wrong timing there. Okay, so I will not exactly run through this map all the way to the very end in this recording, but at least from what I've already seen in this map alone, there are lots of good parts in this map alone. However, I will do a separate video where I play through this map and let's see where we get it from there. So until then, I do hope to see you guys in the next episode, and stay safe, everyone.